So it's been a really topical conversation for female entrepreneurs and have some amazing panelists to kick us off. So I'll start by introducing them just very quickly. I have Sxsw, who is the co-founder and president of Goalposts, which is a national nonprofit that has contributed over $100 million in equipment and helps 10 million children get access to sports. I have JOSHI, who has cultivated a devoted following for the younger women's classes with Halogen. She's a entrepreneur, she is a dancer and entertainer, she's a DJ, a multi-hyphenate truly, and she's also a mother. And I have Sxsw here, who is the founder and CEO of UNDERWOOD, which is an LA-based agency that drives social change for advertising and production. So this is where Nike, Ulta, and the WNBA championing women in sports. So I'm really excited to kick off this conversation. I want to sort of set some of the context here. So Sxsw, I'll start with you, but everyone feel free to chime in. This one's about the benefits that we see in women participation in sports. So we know that 94% of female executives did play sports at one time. We have 69% of women who earn over $100,000 a year. And as leadership roles, having participated in sports. So it's quite obvious that there's a way here. So what do you attribute the success and what qualities of sports prepare women for these major roles? And why then is it important that we see access to sports for women of all ages and women of all areas, not just women of professional sports?
The information shared statistics for research has been very clear from action there. And what we find is that some of the attributes that girls find in sports, like resilience, teamwork, and thinking through strategies, are all things that are really consistent in success in professionals. We also know that girls who play sports for a longer period of time are more likely to end up in leadership positions. So there's a clear connection there, and that's what we're reading over and over again. And that's one of the things that we feel very strongly about is making sure that they're doing the best they do, so they're getting all those opportunities. So that is that's what we're doing for research protection.
So I'm an employer, right? And I see people come through our company all the time. People by far with the most grit, resilience, people are who are able to take really tough feedback, pivot, and make a change. All play sports. Like play sports, we're in the military, there's some aspect that they have to learn at an early age to overcome tough feedback. Sports really teaches you how to get better, just through practice and trying. But for me, I don't purely hire athletes, but I do think it's a very important thing. When I'm looking at my team, is to ensure that the leadership does have some athletes in it.
I also think it's important to note the level builds that foundation, that structure, reaching endurance as like a leadership fitness perspective, that endurance over time is the thing that's going to make you faster and stronger. Focus on it. So it is definitely an attribute. And as it relates to women, let's not forget. We're playing sports, we're competing, we're doing all the things, and we get our period every single month. To overcome that, to create that kind of discipline from physical discomfort, to continue to compete, to show up, to smile when you don't feel like it, these qualities, especially when they're confronted in youth, definitely go such a long way. When you're taking a leadership position, even being a mom, it shows up so much.
Now, I think the first sort of frontier when it comes to ensuring access to women's sports, or one of the initial ways that can be promoted, is starting a conversation at home. Jess, you danced as a young girl, you are incredibly talented, you competed, and you're a mother now. How do you talk to, or how do you recommend people talk to children or parents about ensuring participation in sports?
I think it's about nurturing what the child is naturally excited and gravitate towards, and providing as many opportunities, and then, with privilege comes the investment within the history of that discipline, if it does, since my kids are Olympic dancers, where do we not project onto them and let them have their own experience and develop in ways that are going to take them into the future. So I think it really comes down to the nuance of that conversation, deepening the connection with your child and them with themselves, so that together you can partner on how to be, where to go, where to channel that light.
Yeah, and I would add, just speaking of that privilege, one of the challenges we see running on this is that there are barriers to play for kids, and there are barriers that are unique to girls to play. And we're seeing girls drop out of sports at twice the rate of women by age 14. And age 14 is very interesting because that is when a lot of things are changing in the young woman's life. We see something as simple as a sports bra not being available to a young girl that keeps her complaints. Cost is another barrier. We also know that despite incredible success since Title IX, that girls still have 1 million fewer sports and today's opportunities than boys. So there is still a gender equity gap to these girls, and there's a lot of things that have to be done to make these investments happen. But we know the benefits are so crucial that we need to bring them up.
I'm glad you brought up Title IX, so I didn't want to ask you about this because since its passage, we've seen an increase in participation in sports among women. We've had some really watershed moments in women's sports and the rise of social media. But there's still an ongoing disparity. There's still not as much visibility into women's sports as into men's. To what do you attribute that disparity, and what are the tools that we currently have available to sort of increase some of the visibility and close a little bit of that gap?
Alright, this is why I have my note cards, guys. So I think, men have been participating in sports for hundreds if not thousands of years. Women have really just started right around Title IX. I think when we start talking about money and we start thinking about equal pay, like there's a lot of conversation about, hey, women aren't ranked in the top 50 in terms of who the most well-paid athletes are. When you look at who the most well-paid female athletes are, they tend to be tennis players. Tennis, thanks to Billie Jean King, got equal pay around 1973 in the U.S. Open, just the U.S. Open. And if anybody watched the Serena King Richards movie, you know that his primary focus and objective was to get them to play so they could make money. I have talked to numerous athletes who have had to decide between becoming a doctor or going to make $50, $60, $70,000 a year, a fraction of what they would make as a doctor, to play professional sports. So at some point, the love of the game will be themselves, right? At the same time, we also have to understand that in the 1970s, the NBA wasn't making money. They were losing money. Even up until like a couple of years ago, or 10 plus years ago when I was at the Clippers, most of the NBA teams were losing money. They weren't making money. So with that said, it takes time to catch up. It's not going to happen overnight. I mean, women are making leaps and bounds everywhere we look. Like they are jumping over hurdles all the time. But what really, shot the NBA into, the stratosphere was, the Larry Bird Magic feud back in the 1970s. And again, in 1984, they made, I think, $165 million as the NBA. The WNBA last year made $244 million. Obviously, if you adjust for inflation, that's still slightly less than where the NBA was. But we just got Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, right? This is just happening now. So for me, I think Title IX really helped usher in, the idea that women can get scholarships in college. And I think now as we're pressing forward, we're seeing the visibility, we're seeing, those March Madness numbers, women's March Madness numbers exceeding men's March Madness numbers and other sports. I think you're going to see further investment by brands. And I think after you see this further investment by brands, you're going to see then a bigger investment into women's sports and hopefully better and more athletes coming out. Because, you never know when you're giving up a Serena, like, to go be a doctor, right? She could have done a lot of other things, but she decided not to. And hence we got one of the greatest athletes to ever live.
I want to circle back to Vessel Wave in a second, but Jess, I was curious, obviously in this environment that we're living in today, when we're talking about visibility, social media, it's incredibly valuable. You have multiple platforms